This episode contains adult themes and is not appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast, and I'm Sadie Eck.
And I'm Courtney Eck.
And we are your hosts, and we are sisters, and we are going to tell you a terrible tale tonight.
Yes, it's terrible. It's infuriating. It's sad. It's what we're all here for.
There you go. So we're happy to have you. What's that?
I feel like we're like an ad for Cracker Barrel or something.
No, I was thinking
with
of
murder.
What's that PBS show with the bubbles? The music variety show.
Oh,
the
God.
Old one.
Lawrence Welk.
Yes. Yes.
We are the Lawrence Welk of murder.
That's what I'm
Welcome.
So happy to have you guys.
This is awful.
Take it away, Court.
I will take it away. Thank you. Thank you. Never seen that show in my life.
Oh, it's so good.
So today's story is, I'm calling it the murder tree, also known as the murder of Charlotte Grabbie.
Oh.
So today's story takes place in 1981 in Marshall, Illinois, which is a small town on the banks of the Wabash River. Marshall was a farming community, mostly growing vast fields of corn and soy, and the biggest landowners in town were Fred and Charlotte Grabbie, who were quite well off thanks to their family farm, which they worked alongside their daughter, son, and daughter-in-law.
Their daughter, son, and daughter-in-law.
Yes.
Okay.
Grown children,
Right.
one of whom was married to a woman.
And you said Illinois?
Yes, Marshall,
Okay.
Illinois.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm all caught up
Good.
on the facts. Thus far. It's going to be one of those days, man.
I know. I think we're all there. It's 23 days before the election. We're like, so what is a daughter-in-law? I know, it's fine. It'll all come back after the election, I promise.
Yes.
So on top of the wealth they'd amassed through the farm, Charlotte also received a substantial inheritance, so their assets at the time were well into the six figures, which was a significant amount of money in the early 80s.
Yeah.
I think it was probably $3.5 trillion compared to today's. I mean, if you made six figures in the 80s, yeah, you were
As a
set.
farmer, I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Fred was a massive man, coming in at 6 foot 4 inches tall and 300 pounds, while Charlotte was very petite. Upon first meeting, everyone described Fred as very nice, polite, and fun to be around, and Charlotte was a workaholic, working from sunup to sundown, and she wasn't afraid to drive a tractor and cultivate the crops they grew. Fred also put in a ton of time working on the family farm. Their daughter Jenny had been a cheerleader and a straight-A student, and their son Jeff was a handsome football player. From afar, they seemed like the perfect American family. How many times has a true crime story started with that sentence?
I think this is the first time.
Wait, we're all just like crazy with scraggly hair and wild eyes? No. Nope.
Turns out not.
Turns out, most of the time, they're the perfect American family.
Yep.
Fred and Charlotte's marriage had its ups and downs, and interestingly, the couple actually divorced soon after they married, and later reconciled and got married again. It's said that Fred had an eye for younger women and so wasn't always the most faithful partner to Charlotte. Then again, in 1981, Charlotte asked for another divorce, and Fred moved out of the large main house and into the smaller house on their property while they sorted things out. Charlotte had learned that Fred was having another affair, this time with 24-year-old Vicki McAllister, who was a local bartender. Vicki was young, not known to be the most motivated person, and didn't have a very good reputation around town. I'm sure she was perfectly fine, but it was 1981, so any woman working in a bar has got some loose morals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
She was probably like studying to be a doctor or something for all we know.
Yeah, she just liked to drink whiskey, which back
Yeah.
then wasn't a lady's drink or whatever.
Exactly. Still not. Ew. Just kidding. Totally kidding. On July 24th, 1981, Charlotte left the house to work on the farm, as was her typical routine, and this time she was heading out to cultivate soybeans. Her kids became concerned when she didn't return home by dinner time like she did every other day, and they searched for her on the farm where they expected her to be, but there was no sign of her. At this point, they knew something was probably seriously wrong, so they contacted the police. Police spoke to Fred, who said that he'd spoken to Charlotte earlier that day near a storage shed and that their conversation had gotten heated. Fred said he left Charlotte in the shed to get away from the argument, but she'd pursued him in her car until she veered off and got on the interstate. That was the last time he claimed to have seen her, and his story remained the same as police continued to question him in coming days. Police searched the shed where the argument had occurred and found Charlotte's lunchbox with her uneaten lunch inside. They also found her purse, driver's license, and migraine medication in the shed, which increased their concern that something bad had happened to Charlotte. In another development, a friend and neighbor said she saw Charlotte's car following Fred's truck earlier in the day, but that she didn't think Charlotte had actually been driving the car. She recalled seeing a blonde, curly-haired woman driving the car in her place, and it couldn't have gotten them confused as Charlotte had short, straight, dark hair.
Oh.
A few days later, Charlotte's car was located outside a bar across the river in Terre Haute, Indiana. There was no evidence of blood or a struggle, but police did find a fully loaded handgun under the seat. Police learned that leading up to her disappearance, Charlotte made her children promise they'd go looking for her if she wasn't home by 4:30 p.m. every night, as she was beginning to fear for her safety. Fred and Charlotte's daughter Jenny recalled that Fred was known to have, quote, fits of rage for seemingly no reason at all, and that he generally focused his rage towards his wife, occasionally lashing out at his children.
Well, you know, I feel like, I don't know, I want to research what's the best course of action for people when they feel so afraid for themselves that they're making plans. You know, this is not the first time we've talked about this. And
No,
I just,
it's like the 750th time. Yeah.
yeah, like what can we put in place for people
Guard,
when they have that? Yeah, you know, but it's like
armed
well,
guards.
right.
I know. There's really no option. It's like you try to maintain the peace until you get out of it. You hope he gets distracted. You hope he doesn't do something crazy in the meantime.
Right.
Right?
You can't like arrest somebody on your
Suspicion.
feeling, right, that they're going to hurt you, but
Armed
I just
guards.
wish it was...
Ooh, falcons. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
From way back in the day.
For eye plucking. Yes.
Eye plucking, retaliatory falcons, protective
Yes.
falcons, and retaliatory falcons.
Yes. Or you need like a Bernedoodle like I have. Bee dog, she just, like Ryan tries to hug me or like she hates that shit so much. She's the affection police and she'll squeeze her way between and like lean on me so that I can't be near him.
Yeah, but then she just gives affection in,
Right.
like, as a result of affection. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work quite. It's not going to be
right.
quite as effective with a 6'4", 300-pound lunatic.
Maniac.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Nice try. Maybe
just
if
need a
she
dog.
carried
That's
the falcon, it would just be cute and sort of
pretty
attractive.
badass. Yeah. She's a beautiful dog.
She's
Anyway.
a gorgeous dog. So yeah, the answer is there is no answer, unfortunately. So Jenny recalled one instance where she heard yelling outside and found her brother and father physically fighting. The fighting escalated to the point that Fred took his son by the sides of his head and bashed his head into the fender of his pickup truck.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's
Awful.
bad fighting, yes. Quote, my brother was hospitalized one time and we were told to make up stories. Tell the doctor he fell out of the hayloft.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Jenny also later learned that Fred was 19 and Charlotte was 15 on their first date. Charlotte revealed that Fred had actually raped her that night,
Oh
and
my
she'd
God.
gotten pregnant.
Oh, no.
Considering there were very few resources for rape in the 1950s, or for women in general, Charlotte had no other recourse but to marry her rapist and start a family. Uh-huh. And now she's got to try to get out of her rapist family.
I'm sick to my stomach.
I know. And the crazy thing is I have a friend that happened to. She grew up in the Mormon religion, and so it's still happening. Women are still encouraged to marry the rapists. Not cool, guys.
No.
The opposite of cool.
Right. We're constantly blamed for being raped. And
yeah. Yes. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Police also learned that Charlotte had written a few letters just 10 days before she disappeared, which she locked in a safe deposit box, and they were disturbed by what they read in the letters. She claimed Fred had stolen some farm equipment and said that, quote, she didn't think she would live through a divorce. She said that she was afraid of Fred and his friend and business associate Dale Kessler. Police interviewed Dale, and he said he was home the night she disappeared and that Fred had actually been there with him. Later, when a grand jury asked Fred where he'd been that night, he invoked the Fifth Amendment and refused to say anything. Unfortunately, without a body or evidence of any kind, the investigation stalled and Charlotte remained just another mysterious missing person.
Ugh.
Her children posted a $25,000 reward, but her case remained cold for the next 3 years.
Wow. I can't imagine.
No. Especially knowing that it's probably your father who did it, and there's no way of proving it, and you still have to be in a family with this fucking monster.
It's awful. What are you going to say? It's so bad. I can't imagine.
Charlotte's daughter, Jenny, became obsessed with finding her mother, worried that she could still be alive and that no one was trying to find her. Thoughts of solving her case plagued her day and night to the point that it was all she ever really thought about. She knew that if the roles were reversed, Charlotte would never give up, and so she hired a private detective, Charles Pearson, in 1984 to help her find her mother.
Good.
Yes. Pearson learned that Fred and his girlfriend, Vicki McAllister, had recently broken up, so he started by tracking her down to question her.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
I do too. Very good timing. Pearson knew there were two things Vicki liked to do, quote, drink beer and play pool, so I started going to the bars in the area and doing both. I met her and we became friendly. Pearson said that Vicki was very anxious to discuss her life and relationship during the time she was with Fred, and he was able to use her anxiety to coax out the horrific secret of what happened to Charlotte on the day she went missing.
Good
quote,
work, man.
I know, I love it. Love private detectives.
Me too.
Quote, he likened Vicki's reaction to the opening of a floodgate. Information poured out. Yes, Vicki had driven Charlotte's car that day, and that wasn't all she had done.
No.
Vicki claimed she stopped by the farm to borrow a steel drum to haul some trash. The drum was stored in a barn where Fred claimed he'd last seen Charlotte on the day she disappeared. Charlotte happened to drive up while Vicki was there, and Fred urgently told her to hide behind a tractor so his wife wouldn't see her. Charlotte and Fred immediately started arguing, and the fight quickly escalated to violence. Trigger warning, guys, it's about to get real gnarly. So, there's some sexual assault and just horrible murder. So, skip ahead if that doesn't sound like something you want to hear. Vicki watched as Fred began to choke Charlotte, intermittently letting up on the pressure so that she could regain consciousness, and then would start the process all over again.
Oh, no.
I know, that's one of my worst things, people that do that. It's fucking torture. Vicki said Fred made horrible comments to Charlotte the entire time he was choking her, and then eventually she stopped breathing. Once he was sure Charlotte was dead, he proceeded to sodomize her. Once his nightmarish attack was over, he took a grease gun and filled every orifice of her body with grease to make it more flammable.
Oh, no.
After filling the mother of his children with flammable grease, he put her in the steel barrel, and he and Vicki headed toward the Wabash River. Imagine your boyfriend just strangled, sodomized, and greased his wife, and you're like, let's go. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm in.
No.
And then stayed with him for like 3 more years.
Right.
Once night had fallen, Vicki watched as Fred doused his wife in diesel fuel and lit Charlotte's body on fire. They watched as her body burned all night long to the point that only her skull remained, which Fred threw in the Wabash River while commenting that it would, quote, make great fish food. Ugh. He then rolled the barrel into the river where it sunk, hiding any remaining evidence.
What a sadist, man.
Yeah, he's a son of a bitch. He's a sick monster. Also, to just do that, just know to do that, you know? That's a really good way to dispose of a body, and the fact that he just came up with that on the fly or had thought of it, I don't know. That's
Right, 'cause
diabolical.
that's not like common knowledge of disposing of a body, you know.
No, I would never think, oh, I'm going to fill the body with flammable material.
God.
The Grabbie's daughter, Jenny, said that she was horrified and overwhelmed by Vicky's recounting of her mother's gruesome death, and that it took her several days for the reality to even begin to set in.
I can't imagine.
No.
The reality in my mind isn't setting in, and she's not my mother.
No,
you know,
no
like,
person should ever have to die like that, especially
No.
at the hands of your father.
No.
The main issue with Vicky's account was that it came after Fred had ended their relationship, and so, of course, she wasn't the most credible witness, because she very well could have made the whole thing up to get back at Fred for breaking her heart. Fred had promised Vicky that she'd live the life of luxury and enjoy the things that come with living an upper-middle-class life, and she was devastated that it hadn't come true. And as I mentioned before, she also wasn't the most respected person in town, and Fred was a more successful farmer that was generally well-liked. In exchange for her testimony, however, Vicky was offered total immunity, relocation, and a new identity.
Wow.
To top it all off, if Fred was convicted, Vicky would be eligible to receive the $25,000 reward Charlotte's children had posted.
What?
Yeah, which is a
No.
son of a bitch kind of thing.
That's not okay.
No.
There needs to be some sort of like stipulation in there.
Right? Like, you can
Yeah.
get the reward if you give us the information, but not if you sort of participated in the murder.
No, I mean, she's totally,
Complicit.
yes.
But-
she disposed of the body and
Yeah.
held on to it for, ugh.
Didn't call the police,
No.
didn't intervene,
No.
didn't do
she's-
anything.
No.
So Vicky's testimony was certainly damning, but police knew it would still be very hard to convict Fred without any hard evidence of the alleged murder. Vicky took police to where she claimed the crime had occurred. She brought them to the banks of the Wabash River and didn't have any trouble finding the exact spot because she recalled burning Charlotte's body under a very mature maple tree that was easy to find. Police searched but didn't find a single scrap of hard evidence or Charlotte's remains. But in a moment of divine inspiration, the sheriff at the time offhandedly wondered if maybe there was some way they could find evidence of petroleum products from the burned diesel fuel in the soil around the burn site. Smarty pants.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Wabash River rises frequently and floods the banks, so any trace of diesel fuel would have been long washed away. They tested the soil anyway, and the test came back negative for petroleum products.
Bummer.
But this stroke of genius did, however, lead them to something that could tell them if petroleum products were present, and that was the very large maple tree that canopied the burn site. Arborist Russ Carlson said, quote, "Trees make excellent history books because they show us when events occurred nearby the tree. They can explain to us exactly when different events happened. In spring and summer, a tree's roots work to transport water and nutrients from the soil through the trunk and into the branches where they, quote, fuel the growth of very large cells. The tree goes dormant in late summer and fall and produces smaller, less dense cells during that time. This cycle is what produces the tree's rings, which hold the history of the tree's age, and potentially the area surrounding it." Isn't that cool?
So cool.
Knowing this, police and arborists wondered if they'd be able to tell if the tree had absorbed diesel fuel when Charlotte's body was burned. I love it when people are smart.
So smart. So smart.
Arborist Russ Carlson explained that diesel fuel is toxic to trees, so would likely slow cell growth and adversely affect the tree's growth. Investigators cut 5 branches from the tree, and when they counted back through the tree's rings, they found that in 1981, the growth of the tree had dramatically slowed compared to previous years. The rings from 1981 were visibly much smaller, and to determine exactly why, they ground pieces from each branch into sawdust. Oh, we got a good name coming up. There's 2 really good names in the story. They gave the sawdust to Dr. Donald Dickerson.
Yes.
The cutest and most fun
So
name
cute.
to say.
Dr. Dickerson.
Dr. Dr. Don Dickerson, who is an...
He was a cartoon character.
I know. I mean, I don't want to disrespect this organic
No, of
chemist
course.
because I'm
No.
not an organic chemist and I shouldn't be infantilizing people who are, but it's just so fun to say Dr. Don Dickerson. So Don Dickerson is an organic chemist who dissolved the sawdust and injected it into a gas chromatograph. The results of the test indicated the presence of hydrocarbons, which are, quote, compounds indicative of petroleum products. And of all of the branches they cut down, only 2 showed traces of the compounds, and they were the branches that had grown on the side of the tree where Charlotte's body had been burned.
Wow.
Russ Carlson explained that some trees are better at carrying material laterally or around the entire tree, but maples maintain, quote, direct columns between the roots and the branches above.
Holy shit. I have a maple tree that's half dead and half alive, and that makes a lot of sense now.
There,
Why?
yeah.
Holy shit.
So shit grows up and down, not around.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
So cool.
So these findings backed up Vicki's claims that Charlotte's body had been in fact burned and discarded in that exact location. Based on this evidence, police were finally able to arrest Fred Grabbie and charge him with his poor wife's murder.
Wow. I'm kind of surprised that was admissible.
Enough. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Because, I mean, it sounds awesome, but...
Yeah.
Like, could you grind up a bunch of different trees everywhere and they would test...
Hey, it's 1985. People were dazzled by this, I'm sure.
I'm dazzled by it.
I'm dazzled by it, too. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just curious.
No, I thought the same thing. Like, it does seem like a bit of a stretch, but it's really freaking smart. It's so smart that it's dazzling, so it doesn't really matter. And also, Fred Grabbie's a fucking monster, so...
Well, clearly.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. So Vicki shared her horrifying account of Charlotte's murder at the hands of Fred in exchange for immunity, and Fred's daughter-in-law, here comes the other great name, Cindy Pancake.
There are really people out there with the last name Pancake?
I'm so jealous of the name Cindy Pancake.
Seriously.
Don Dickerson and Cindy Pancake live in a mushroom.
A toadstool.
So good. It's such a good name.
Wow.
And there's this next sentence. It doesn't have any, it doesn't really actually add much, but I had to use her name, Cindy Pancake. So
I totally
So check this out. Cindy Pancake said she hadn't learned about the tree playing such an integral part of his arrest until she heard the account in court. See, it doesn't add anything to the story, but I'm just like, she popped up. This is an episode of Forensic Files, of course, because it's like amazing forensics. And yeah, her name popped up and she's just like, I didn't even hear anything about the tree. And I was like, going in the episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they were saying. They were like, who knows about this case? And then Cindy Pancake walks in and they're like, what do you know about it? She's like, nothing. And they're like, you're on film. Cindy Pancake, your name's amazing.
Exactly. They're like, did we get anything good from Cindy Pancake? And they're like, not really. They're like, she did say she didn't know anything about the tree until court. And they're like, good enough. Gotta get her in there.
She should be famous.
She should be famous.
Does anybody out there know anybody with the last name Pancake?
Is Cindy Pancake out there? Does she have a Facebook account?
Will
I'll look it up at the end of this episode.
So
you want to be Sadie Pancake, which is even cuter than Cindy Pancake.
Yes.
Dang it. Don Dickerson, Dr. Don Dickerson can officiate.
Please.
So, back to this horrifying murder.
Oh.
It was also revealed that Frank's motive for murder was, of course, money. He wasn't interested in splitting assets with Charlotte, especially considering the bulk of their assets were from her inheritance. Specifically, most of the farmland legally belonged just to her, and so Fred stood to lose a ton of money in the divorce. It was like an 800-acre farm, and she owned almost all of it. After deliberation, Fred Grabbie was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Good.
But do you think that's where the story ends?
No.
It doesn't end there. As if the story wasn't strange and convoluted enough, Fred's new girlfriend, Barbara Graham, who is a 26-year-old twice-divorced mother of 3, decided to pack a gun, head down to the prison, and attempted to break Fred free.
Holy shit, that is a lot of life to live at 26 years old.
Right? Twice divorced. Mother of 3, murderer, boyfriend, gonna go bust him out.
Wow.
The chief of police at the time described the incident, quote, It was about 1:45 on the morning of July 7th, 1985, he said, when Graham showed up at the jail and told Deputy Sheriff Mike Davidson she wanted to deliver a love note to Fred. When Davidson opened the door, she shot him in the leg. It's 1:45 in the morning. You cannot come into the prison and deliver a love note.
No.
You guys, the 80s were the fucking craziest time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there were no visiting hours in the 80s.
No, basically, you're just a free-for-all. Hey, I just miss him. Come on in.
Wow.
Come on in,
Okay.
Barb. Yes.
Wow. And this is prison, not jail, right?
Correct.
He's in prison.
Yes.
Wow.
Correct. Graham fired 4 other shots, one of which tore through the uniform trouser leg of Deputy Sheriff Sharon Davison. Davison, however, crouched on the floor and radioed for help. Marshal police rushed to the jail and helped subdue Barbara.
She just thought she was going to go blazing with a gun.
Yes. She went blazing in there. They said that Fred had encouraged her to practice using the gun, which she clearly didn't practice enough. They also said she was like madly, madly in love with him, and he had bought her a mink coat. And at his pretrial hearings, she kept showing up wearing her mink coat, like acting. Yes, she just thought she was the shit. She was super excited about her super rich boyfriend. And somehow she thought she could bust him out and it would all be okay.
Wow. People are just stupid
They're
sometimes.
stupid. I mean, at 26, I would have done something similar. I was
No,
so
you wouldn't.
dumb. I was so
No.
stupid.
No,
But
you
you-
would have, like, had one extra shot of tequila or something. You wouldn't have been like...
Sadie, I hate to bring it to you. I would do that at 41. So,
Well, I just mean, like, not that much has changed for you, but you wouldn't go busting people out of prison
don't
now
know.
or then.
I was slightly sociopathic in my 20s. Because you are. Everyone's like slightly sociopathic in their early mid-20s. You just... You know, life just gets the best of you sometimes and you make really stupid decisions. I mean, that is an extremely stupid decision, but you could see how if somebody had a slightly lower IQ than you or I, they would be like, pew, 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 mink coat, yeah, it's
I would
worth
say
it.
self-centered. I think 20-year-olds can be self-centered and maybe dumb, but...
I think there's a little bit of sociopathy happening because you will just break a heart, no prob. You know, you'll just walk away from someone you love and cheat
I
on
guess
them.
I wouldn't.
No,
I was
you
not-
wouldn't, but that you quote,
Yeah.
yes, most people would.
Right. Yeah.
You were on the like baby train. The rest of us were on the look at me train. I'm so sorry to any of my exes who are listening. You are all wonderful people. So back to Barb, shooting up the prison.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
So in the end, she served 16 years in prison for her crimes. 3 children.
Wow.
16 years in prison to try to get her stupid boyfriend out.
Wow.
So
I mean,
it keeps going. The story keeps going. I have a lot more.
what?
So 2 months, well, not a lot, but there's a lot more that happened.
Why?
2 months after that, the home that Fred and Charlotte had lived in together, as well as the home their children had built nearby, both burned to ashes.
No.
Yes.
That's not cool.
You'll be super surprised to learn that both fires had been deliberately set, and police were pretty damn sure Fred Grabbie orchestrated both fires somehow.
Fred, just be quiet and stop it.
He can't. He's a monster.
But how, I mean, he's got to just be so manipulative to talk people. Like, he doesn't have access to his money anymore, right?
No. But
He's just, like, calling in favors.
yeah.
Could you
Yes.
imagine, like, here's a call from the Terre Haute prison or whatever. Like, hey, can you
Hey,
go
Kurt.
burn my house down for me, please?
Yes. And will you burn both of my houses down for me? Be like, Fred, they're definitely going to know that was. He's like, no, just burn them both.
Please. Why? Because.
Because. There's no reason. Just because.
No, like, I'm in here for the rest of my life.
I mean, his children did testify against him, but yes.
Wow.
He's an asshole. So that's not even the end of it.
Did they figure out who burned the houses down?
No.
Wow.
So, as if all of that wasn't cool enough on its own, Fred's defense team appealed his sentence, and on a technicality, Fred was actually granted a new trial.
Wow.
2 months before the trial was scheduled to begin, Fred's son Jeff who had testified against him at the first trial, was found dead of 3 bullet wounds to the head and chest.
Oh, no.
Yes. His body was found floating in a harbor in California. And again, many people believe Fred called for his son's murder to keep him from testifying against his loving father once again.
Wow.
Police claim Jeff's murder was drug-related, and they reject claims that Fred could have had anything to do with it. But it does seem like that would be something this motherfucker would do.
Well, totally.
Right?
Yes.
So, thank the gods and goddesses, Frank's second trial went the same route as the first, and he was again convicted of Charlotte's murder and sentenced to 75 years in prison.
Good.
He will be up for parole in 2022, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's real soon.
I know. So, Vicki McAllister claimed her $25,000 reward and then happily relocated at the state's expense, scared to death that Fred would manage to somehow enact his revenge against her from behind prison walls. And the fact that she was able to get out of there before he did was pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the fact that he let her live anyway.
It's true.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So sadly, no one has ever been charged with Jeff Grabbie's murder, and Charlotte's remains have never been found.
No.
Jenny hasn't spoken to her father since he was charged in 1985 with her mother's death. Quote, "He has absolutely no remorse," she said. None. Of her mother, she said, quote, "I miss her a lot. I feel like I'm the only one left, even though my dad is alive. My husband comes from a good family, and he and his relatives and my kids, they keep me going."
Oh, Jenny.
And that is the story of how trees solve murders.
Wow. Wow.
Uh-huh.
When families explode like that, I cannot imagine.
No. To be the kid that was born to rape, and then this like awful, violent family, and then to be really rich and successful too. And so nobody's ever going to pay attention to what's going on in your house or probably ever do anything about it because your dad's so humongous and powerful.
Yep.
You know? Yuck, man.
Yuck.
No,
Wow.
thank you. There's
That was a good one.
Thanks. I know, it's so interesting. And it just goes on and on. I looked to see if there was more information about Jeff Grabbie's murder, but I couldn't find any. But it just seems like this family, you could just do endless stories about them because they're so...
Where was that in the Forensic Files seasons? Like earlier episodes?
I feel like it was an earlier episode, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
Wow.
Yeah. I caught the tail end of it. I was like, what? It was like, what is happening?
Yeah. I think a bunch of the original Forensic Files are on Netflix now, right?
Don't know. I just watch ID like 24 hours a day. So, yes, probably.
Yeah, I bet it's on there.
Yep. Forensic Files is, because they're short too, it's always let's watch this while we wait for the other thing to come on. So even if there's only 22 minutes left, you know you're still going to get the whole story. So it's it's a good one to pop in over on and get some science, get some knowledge.
It's soothing.
I love his voice. I actually watched, Laura and I were watching some documentary recently and he narrated it and we were both like, love him.
I really do too.
I want to see what he looks like. Do you have any idea what he looks like?
Well, I'm picturing, the man I'm picturing is, he's the host of, it's like American Justice or something, one of the early 2000s.
Oh.
I don't think it's him, but I'm picturing like an older man with white hair.
Yeah, me too. Oh my God, he's so old. Peter Addenbrook Thomas.
All right, I'm looking him up.
Oh no, did he die? He died in 2016.
I don't know.
Oh, he did Nova too. That's why we love him so much. Anyone who can narrate Nova. Oh, R.I.P. Yep, he's exactly what you picture him to be. What else? Oh, Cindy Pancake. I got to see what Cindy Pancake's up to.
Oh yeah, that's not who I'm thinking of, but wow. Yeah.
Holy shit, you guys. There's so many Cindy Pancakes out there.
Oh, I hope What?
Somebody, Cynthia Pancake Pecoraro. Cynthia Pancake Pecoraro. So
wow.
Cindy Pancake with an S, Cindy Pancake with a Y. There's so many Cindy Pancakes. I'm so
please.
jealous.
Who out there has the last name Pancake?
Yeah, does anybody know any pancakes?
Are you a pancake? Because I seriously need to figure out how to become one. I don't think I'm gonna.
You can marry one of the boys off to a pancake, and then your grandchildren will be pancakes.
I mean, yeah. If they do it like I did, and just keep my last name and then
give it to
my
the
kids.
You'll have to insist on it.
I'll be like, no, I don't care that we
are the end of the
purposefully
lineage.
Give you my last name so you can carry on the lineage. we were meant to be pancakes.
We were meant to be pancakes. This is our destiny. I'll change my last name. If one of the boys marries a pancake and has children that are pancakes, I will legally change my last name to Pancake. I'm pretty sure Laura would do the same.
I mean, I think we should all do it. It should just be a world full of pancakes.
Oh my God. How fun would it just be to say all the time? Like, what's your first name? Courtney. What's your last name? Pancake. It's so fun to say pancake.
It really is.
It just makes you feel a little lighter in your day. Oh, I'm so jealous. I'm so glad that she got that 2 seconds talking about how she didn't know about the tree until the court hearing.
I'm so glad you saw the end so you could see that so that we could all know about her.
I was like, oh, I hope that she says something else. Nope. All right, I got to put that in there because the world needs to know.
Wow.
So, Jenny, if you're listening, I'm so sorry that you have such a horrible family, but she looked like she was doing A-okay. She's beautiful. Yeah. She has great hair.
Good family.
Yes,
that she built.
Yes, she seemed very much. I think that she came across as somebody who had received closure by solving her mother's murder and putting her father in jail. So that's got to feel pretty badass to have done that, and that's kind of the air that she portrays. So
totally.
So sorry though. Jesus God, that is too much.
Too much. I think that when you do true crime stuff, when you're into it, like we are, the difference in listening to all these horrible people that do like the worst things next to these strong fucking badass people who just take their power back and I appreciate that part of it so much.
Absolutely. Yes. I totally agree.
Watching people be strong and smart and
totally agree. I could not agree more. Yeah, because to deal with monsters, you have to be a hero. And so there's so many heroes in these stories, too.
Yep.
Ugh. Yuck.
Well, do you have any businesses?
Yes, I have a really good business, actually. So somebody sent us an email that they were listening to our episode about Anna Brown and Edith Rodriguez, which if you haven't heard that episode yet, it's about their just absolutely horrifying deaths in hospitals. Like they went to the hospital to receive treatment and weren't given treatment and died as a result. And she said that she went to the doctor for a blood clot and the doctor wouldn't treat her. And she knew that she was experiencing a blood clot partially due to that episode and hearing the symptoms that Anna Brown had. And so forced her friend, who is a nurse practitioner, to call her doctor and say, no, you need to treat my friend. She needs to get this figured out. Diagnosed the blood clot, saved her life.
It's so incredible.
So incredible. It's just one of those things that I give the credit to our listener who, I think I said this at the beginning of that episode, I posted Anna Brown's story just in an Instagram post. It's such a sad story. And I put this, basically a meme up about her. And one of our listeners said, oh, thank you so much for doing this case. And, we hadn't planned on doing it, but as a result of her comment, we did do it. And then somebody listened to it and didn't die.
I know. It's so crazy.
It's so
amazing.
Crazy. So I think the moral of the story is follow us on Instagram I'm just kidding. But I love shit like that. I love that somebody inspired me to be better, to do, to dig deeper and do more and tell this person's story rather than just sharing it. And it's such a sad fucking story, but it's just potentially saved somebody's life. So
Yeah.
cool. So cool.
Yes.
So sad,
Yeah.
but
So
also
sad.
so cool.
Well, and just how connected we all really are. You know, that
100%.
this one thing led to one thing that led to another thing. And
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how life works. And it's such a trip. I think we talked
Yeah.
about that 2 or 3 episodes ago. If you hadn't done this one thing at this exact moment, none of the rest of your life would have happened in the same way. And it gives you the shivers, the good shivers.
Totally. Yep. So if you're feeling alone right now, if you're struggling, just remember that this is now. It's how you feel now. It's not necessarily how you'll feel later. You're not alone.
Absolutely.
Even if you feel really lonely.
Yep.
That we're together. We're here together.
Hell yeah. And if you can, just take whatever step you need to take to just make it a tiny bit better. Don't get overwhelmed by all the things that you feel like you need to do. I always like to set timelines for things, and just say, okay, if in 3 weeks I'm still feeling this way, I'm going to do X or Y. And then I also just like breaking things down into sort of actionable items. So it's like, okay, I'm going to sit down right now and do one part of this task. And it makes you feel better, right?
Totally.
So anyway, the world
That's
is
so crazy.
Yeah, the world is crazy
amazing.
and beautiful. And I'm thinking about this because I'm going to go after this to our favorite Mexican drive-through place and get some burritos for dinner. And I was there last week, and this kid, this like teenager, probably 15, 16 years old, had a t-shirt, this like neon colored t-shirt that said "Virginity rules" really big on it. And somehow
Heck
I
yeah.
forgot about it, and then I remembered it 2 days ago. Good for you, kid. Man, just
Yeah, man.
like, I just love, especially teenagers that are so convicted. They have just
Yes.
such a, like, I want the world to know that it's okay to be a virgin. And it is. It's okay to be a virgin.
Yes.
It's okay to be sober. It's okay to, just do
Whatever.
unpopular things.
Yes.
So I've been channeling virginity rules, kid, all week. I don't know what my shirt would say, but probably it's okay to feel like shit sometimes. It's going to get better, and the world is beautiful, and don't drink too much because you get hungover and that make you feel sad. It's been a very emotional week.
Yes, it really has.
It's been a very emotional year.
4 years.
4 years,
yeah.
but yes, this week has been, I feel like we all just keep thinking like, okay, oh, well, it's probably gonna get a little bit more normal.
Nope.
No!
Nope.
You think, ha ha ha, here's a bunch of crazy shit you weren't expecting.
I know. I've been thinking about giving a shout out to any parents out there that are virtually schooling their children.
Oh my God.
Because that shit's so hard.
I can't, you guys. I don't know how you're doing it.
Yeah, and he's in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I think I have the easiest level, he's
I don't-
easygoing, he's into letters or whatever. but-
Yeah. I don't know because my friend, this is anecdotal, so I'm certainly not speaking for any parents out there, but I was emailing with an old friend that I haven't talked to in years, and she said her kids, I think, are like 9 and 11, and she said it was actually kind of okay because they are old enough to just read and engage and do it, on their own. So
Right.
kindergarten
Yeah,
might be way more nightmarish than I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I have a pretty mature kindergartner, so I think I lucked out, but it's just hell. It sucks, and I hate it, and I'm grateful for it. I'm happy to have the option.
Yes.
Of course, I'd rather do this than help spread COVID, but
We'd rather not have COVID and just
yeah.
have school again.
Yeah. So if you're trying to do that, you guys, I'm here with you. It's hard.
I don't know how you're doing it. Life is too hard to have to homeschool your children right now.
Yep.
So,
I'd agree.
go vote.
Yeah. Let's do
I
that.
voted this week. It was awesome.
Yep, I checked.
Record numbers. Go ahead.
I did do mail-in ballot. My husband brought what is it called? Ballots, right?
Yeah, yes.
My husband brought them to the post office to have them mailed
Yep.
to the courthouse, which is like 6 blocks away.
Yep.
And it took 9 days for them to receive it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we did confirm that they have it. Whether that it'll be approved or not, we don't know.
Right.
But just a heads up that
It's taking...
in a very Republican state, it still took 9 days
Uh-huh.
for them to receive it.
Yeah, I would say if you are able to vote in person, go try it. My polling place was very, very, very safe. It's only allowing 3 people at a time, and that, it makes for longer lines outside of the building, but it was, we were in and out in 2 minutes. It was no big deal and very safe. So if you feel safe, if that's a possibility, give it a try.
Yep.
Yeah. But if it's not, make sure you give yourself, basically set it right now so that it gets in time.
Yep. 9 million people have already voted.
Oh my God, that's just amazing.
Yep.
I give the credit to this podcast because
we have spread the good word.
Yes. Oh, good job, guys. We're gonna get this done. We're gonna get rid of COVID.
Should we play a podcast promo real quick?
Yes, let's play a podcast promo real quick.
All right, this is the Missing Souls podcast with host Savannah Robbins.
Hey everybody, my name is Savannah, and I'm the host of a brand new podcast called Missing Souls. Every Monday, I'll be telling you a new case about a missing person. Some of these cases will be unsolved, but others will have shocking resolutions. A few episodes are already up and ready for you to listen, so what are you waiting for? Just search Missing Souls Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. I can't wait to see you there. Stay safe, stay aware, and keep searching.
Okay.
I've got some shout outs, but anything before we...
Nope, let's give these hot babes their dues.
All right. Patreon continues to grow. We appreciate it. If you guys want to join us, we still have the event coming up soon.
Yeah, 100 people. Get in there.
Get in it. Do it. So thank you so much to Lori O.
Lori O.
Say can you
I say
see?
outrageous. Yes, Lori O. Say can you see? That's not how that song goes at all. Sadie hit her own head on a refrigerator today, hard enough that she concussed herself.
I really did. I was cleaning my grandmother's refrigerator.
Oh wait, no,
today.
that is how this song goes. Never
Thank
mind.
you.
I'm sorry. I'm so
You're
sorry.
Concussed. Yourself.
Feel like I have concussed myself with life and emotion this week.
I know, but no, I stood up really hard. My head was still inside. My head was still inside the refrigerator, and I hit it so hard I thought I was gonna puke, and then I saw stars, and then I was nauseous for 3 hours.
And then she sang the national anthem correctly. I apologize. I stand corrected.
But nothing else has worked in my brain except for the national. That's the national anthem.
Who else?
Anyway, thank you to Camille D.
Such a cute name. Beautiful name. Not cute. I gotta stop saying cute. It's the worst word. It's a beautiful name, Camille. Like the princess, right? She's a princess?
I think so.
Or a duchess?
She should be.
I know.
Another adorable, beautiful name, Ginger W.
Yes. Very jealous of that.
And thank you to Jessica S.
Gotta love a Jessica. Jessie, Jessica with a K.
Yeah, love it. We love you.
We love you, Jessica.
Anything else?
I don't think so, you guys. But if you want to save lives, come find us on social media. On Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at They Will Kill. Check out our website, theywillkill.com. And email us at theywillkill@gmail.com.
Rate, review, subscribe.
Yes, please.
Thank you to AJ Bergantz for our beautiful music.
Thank you so much.
And remember...
Virginity rules!
Yes! Yep. Not what I was going to say, but yes.
Virginity rules! We love you
guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.